Mic check 1 2 1 2. Shalom, shalom, peace, and blessings to the 12 tribes of Israel scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. It's your brother Amath Ayaquar, first name IQ is all the same. And you've reached Don't Shoot the Messenger, DSTM, episode number 141. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, the Savior and King of Israel. All praises for that, man. Hopefully everybody's doing well, man. It's a hump day. We halfway through this hellish week. You know what time it is. If you don't, you need to make sure that you walk out, wipe your feet, and then come back on in. Okay? You know what time it is. Help your brother out. Be kind. And observe some moral laws. You know what I'm saying? Cleanliness is next to godliness. That's what the Christians told me. You know what I mean? So food is ready. If y'all ready to eat, let me know by wiping your feet and acknowledging that you're in the house. All right. Um, got a few articles I need to go over with y'all, man. Got a follow up from last week, episode 140. We're gonna still look at the unemployment issue that's going on. Layoffs have already started in some areas and some sectors of business. You know, last week they were talking about 6 months to a year. Got an article showing that a whole entire training class is going viral on Twitter. Um, excuse me, not Twitter, TikTok. One of the employees' sister went live. They got fired via Zoom and said that their positions was no longer available. 3 days into training, they said, we can't even sustain this." All right, Europe is crashing and burning, not literally but figuratively in the economic scales. The French president said the age of it's the end of all, decadence, so to speak, for them. And they basically acknowledging that Europe is finished. They get ready to have a cold, dark winter with the escalating prices of power and gas being unaffordable for many out there. All right. It was a nationwide EBT and SNAP outage this past Sunday. Can you imagine that happening more often? Hmm? All hell is gonna break loose when the Negroes and Hispanics ain't got that. They cards ain't working no more, and the white trash. They're testing those systems. They're seeing the dependency upon the people. You know, there's a lot of things going on, man. They got the new DVOC boosters out, no tests being done, and they're getting ready to roll them out, man, and tell people roll up and follow protocol or else. So let's get to it, man. Let me share my screen. If you're new to the channel, if you enjoy the channel, if you find information, man, don't be prideful. Just go ahead on and subscribe. Click the subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and we can connect any and every time that we get on. All right. So let me share my screen, man. Let's go on and get started. Oh, let's get this out the way real quick, man. You know, the arrogancy of the so-called white man. As usual. Uh we covered this in Isaiah 14. We talked about this and him he said, "Hey, I'm going to be like the Most High, man. I'm going to ascend into the clouds. We've waited a long time for this. We're headed back to the moon." Remember that? They get ready to launch off they rocket Artemis, leading the way for humanity to make it back to the moon. I'm calling straight cap bullish. Most High shut that down again. But let's listen to the so-called white man and his desired position in the earth. Okay. Uh let's read verse 12, 14, 12. It says, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of morning?" So this ain't talking about Satan. This is talking about the so-called white man looking for illuministic light on the left-hand side in wickedness, how he's fallen in this particular heaven. He's going to crash and burn. All the nations going to hiss at him. All the nations going to turn against him. Here, heaven on earth. This is his heaven on earth. Right? Isn't that what we pray for when we pray that Our Father prayer? Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Huh? We want our heaven here on earth just as it is in the fourth dimension, where the Most High rests in pure righteousness and light. But here he is seeking light through the illuministic ways, the light of ignorance and unrighteousness and wickedness that he gets from his father Satan, right? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? Yeah, the so-called white man did weaken all the nations. He's colonized a number of different nations. He's weakened them globally through the economy, through war, through treachery of biological agents and warfare, disinformation campaigns. You know, entrapped them in unattainable and loans that they can't pay back. You know, economic warfare. He's weakened the nations through all of those means. He's made all the nations dependent upon their dreams. They got to come here in America, Babylon the great whore, to sip the wine of the wrath of the fornication so that they can fulfill their dreams, so that all the merchants of the earth, as it says in Revelation 18, can have their pockets lined with the devil's payments. Okay? Verse 13. For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. So that's his mission. This is why he launches the satellites. This is why he's constantly trying to create these rockets. And SpaceX, you know, Elon Musk. We're gonna get out there. I'm gonna be the first one to make it out there. Every time he did it, we've seen malfunctions. We've seen rockets exploding. All of the above keeps happening when he desires to be like the Most High. He wants to ascend into heaven. So he sends up the satellites, you know, so that he can have eyes and ears on the ground, so he can look down upon everybody like he is the Most High. This is his desire. This is how you know it's a so-called white man. The Chinese man, he's been trying to be in a competitive field, dealing with who's going to get to Mars first and he's not in competition with the so-called white man. The white man is in competition with himself. This is not the desired nature of the so-called Chinese man to try to be like the Most High. He wants to be like the white man. We've talked about that ad nauseum in regards to him loving white zaddy and always constantly cowtailing behind Vladimir Putin, cowtailing behind slow Biden, and moving in the fashions of their particular oppressors prior to, well, I ain't gonna say they're oppressors, but the envy of our oppressors, following after a communist system, after Mother Russia. You understand all of that? So it ain't the Chinese man, it's the white man who said he's going to ascend into heaven. He's going to exalt his throne above the stars of God. He wants to, put out that propaganda, planting the American flag on the moon, talking about the eagle has landed. You know, Buzz Aldrin and the rest of them old decrepit demons. All propaganda, Hollywood props, and all of that. Because the question always remains: if you was there once, why can't you get back there? You're talking about technology that's damn near 50 years old that they utilized back in the 60s. And here we are in 2022 with all the advancements that we've made, or that they've made, I should say, technologically, and they can't do it again? Huh? Come on. That's my opinion, but lets it be known that he said this is what he says in his heart. This is what is on his mind. Not that he's done it, but he has established the technology to get the satellites and all that stuff up there. But him personally trying to establish himself above the heights of heaven and the stars, no. I will sit. I'm reading on. It says, "I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation and the sides of the north." So he's sitting upon the children of Israel here in the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. So we know that he's got a God complex. The so-called white man wants to be a creator. We know that the Most High is the ultimate creator. He's the potter. We're the vessels. We're the clay. Leave it to him. He says he is a creator, be it through his wicked technology, be it through him using technologies like CRISPR and trying to create clones and doing designer babies, these test tube babies and stuff that they're doing, where you can pick out eye color, intelligence, height, nationality, the whole nine, and you can create a whole designer baby. This is what he's out here doing. When he's telling you, you were born a male. Oh, don't worry, I can recreate you into a female. How about that? This is him wanting to be like the Most High. But I'm gonna stop there. I'm gonna stop there. Okay. But let's look at this. What happened? What happened? Oops. One giant step backwards. As the Most High continues to laugh at the calamities of the so-called white man. Continues to laugh at him. Let me read that in Luke. I think it's Luke 6:25. Hold on. Oh no. It's 1:26, but there is another one, Luke, that says, woe unto them that laugh now. But that's okay. We'll read this one in Proverbs. We'll read this one in Proverbs. Proverbs 1:26 says, I will also laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. So, the Most High has a sense of humor. When the calamities of the wicked and the evil begin to happen, and then they want to pray to God, they want to actually dedicate themselves and say, oh, I was wrong. I shouldn't have blasphemed. I shouldn't have went righteousness. I should have followed after the ways of truth. It's too late now. The Most High said he's going to laugh at your calamity. So you can only imagine that the Most High is laughing on his throne at the feeble attempts of the so-called white man to try to be like him, to try to find him. You ever seen that movie, Prometheus? I mean, that's the arrogancy of the so-called white man. He's on a mission to try to find the Most High, and in every turn, he winds up getting spoiled. He ended up finding more than he desired. For those of you who haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil it, but check that movie out. Very interesting movie, very good. Okay, it's pretty much the almost like a remake or a prequel to the original Alien movie. The Alien movie from like I think the 80s or the 70s or something like that. The first Alien, but Prometheus is a good movie. But let's read this. One giant step backwards. NASA leaves tens of thousands of fans, including VP Kamala Harris, disappointed after early morning Artemis 1 moon launch is scrubbed due to engine bleed. The engine ain't gonna be the only thing bleeding. You keep messing around with the Most High. NASA was forced to scrub the Artemis 1 mission at 8:35 a.m. Eastern due to an issue with engine quote bleeding on the $22.2 billion rocket. They spent $22.2 billion on this rocket and still couldn't get the technicalities together. The issue was not tested in the last dress rehearsal, so engineers need more time to formulate a fix. NASA is now eyeing Friday, September 2nd at 12:48 p.m. Eastern for the second attempt of the Artemis, the first launch. So we're going to see come Friday what happens. And even if he does take a launch, don't put it past him to lie and say, oh, yes, it's successful. Even if the damn thing didn't make it up out past the Van Allen belt, even if the damn thing blew up, who knows? He don't want to keep taking these L's. But we're going to see on Friday. But don't be surprised if the Most High intervenes again. Don't be surprised if they do make the launch and there's some technicality happens and it has to crash out or it didn't make it all the way. Or we're going to see. We're going to see. All right. The Artemis 1 mission is a vital step to land humans on the moon in 3 years' time. Like, did you hear that? They could have said to land humans on the moon again. No. They just said the Artemis 1 mission is a vital first step to land humans on the moon in 3 years' time. It's been 50 years since people last walked on the lunar surface when Apollo 17 landed in December 1972. Give me a break. Give me a break. All right, so we see what happened there. All right, let's look what's happening in Europe. First of all, let me share this video with y'all, man. This is in Italy, Milan. Isn't this where all the models go? Isn't this where the elite, rich Edomites go? Milan, Italy. They want to go over there for the model shows. They want to sip the nice wine. They want to go vacation over there. Huh? This is the richest city in Italy. Matter of fact, don't trust me? Look, lines to the food bank in Italy's richest city, Milan, are getting very long. Let me blow this up for y'all. Lines to the food bank in Italy's richest city, Milan, are getting very long. Food price inflation is pushing families to the edge. Let's see.
Mattina, il sabato mattina apriamo.
Still going.
Oh, ma cazzo fai con le puoi fare?
Seeing a couple melanated faces sitting in them lines, but the Most High is coming back, slapping them damn Romans up again and hit them in their bellies. So we're seeing the inflation, sticker shock prices of the food going up in Europe. Italy, in particular, we see here a food bank that's got damn near a mile long of people waiting in line to get some food. But let's see what the French president says. Macron warns. Look, you see this hook nose guy right here? That's him right there. Macron warns of, quote, end of abundance as France faces a difficult winter. So, the Most High is up here really afflicting the so called white man over there in Europe. Now, granted, there's a lot of Israel over there as well. They're going to face the pain as well. But when you've got the president or the prime minister, I don't know which title they call him, but he's the head over there. And he says the end of abundance. What's that telling you? We know that the so-called white man eventually his kingdom is going to crack. And yes, we're including Europe as a dominated country or a continent that they rule. Not just America, not just Australia, not just Africa, Europe, Western Eastern Europe, so-called white man runs under the auspices of NATO and the EU. He said that their end of abundance is over. All of the good times, all of the money flowing, all of the tourism, all of that. He said, man, that's coming to an end. Sombre first cabinet speech after summer break criticized a snub to poor who have already made sacrifices. Emmanuel Macron, second from the left, chairs his first cabinet meeting after the summer break. There we go. Emmanuel Macron has warned the French that they are facing sacrifices and what he called the quote end of abundance at his government's first cabinet meeting after the summer holidays. The president, speaking before ministers at Elysee, said that the country was at a quote tipping point and faced a difficult winter and a new era of instability caused by climate change and Russia's invasion of the Ukraine. See, they always got the scapegoats lined up and ready. Oh, it's because of the Russia invasion of Ukraine. Well, they've already said that they are allowing the grains and the food to flow back out of Ukraine and flow back out of Europe. So what's the problem? Oh, it's climate change. That's the reason why inflation is happening? That's why the food prices is up? That's why the gas and the oils is up? Oh, it has nothing to do with the sanctions that you agreed to and cutting off one of your main gas suppliers in Russia. Oh, it has nothing to do with that, huh? Okay, I guess you could have been said, "Don't know, we're not doing that. I can't agree with that. That's going to freeze out. That's going to starve my people over here. I'm not agreeing to the sanctions." But no, his cautionary and somber speech, which was immediately criticized by opponents as ill-judged and a snub to the country's out of work and poor who already made sacrifices. To look, the country's out of work and poor. So is that because of climate change? Are they out of work and poor because of Ukraine? Or did it have something to do with the lockdowns? Did it have anything to do with businesses closing down and being shut down because of the measures that it took to get things back under control. Hmm? Can you imagine? This is the type of stuff they're talking about. Who already made sacrifices came after a summer of extreme temperatures, widespread wildfires, droughts, and storms. Macron said France and the French felt they were living through a series of crises, each worse than the last. Oh, well, guess what? As he should. The Most High, all day. I'm trying to think where that scripture is. Hold on. Slack it 1 second. Where is that scripture? Hold on. I think this is the one I want to. No, this is talking about Israel. But even still, let's just use this Jeremiah 5:29. Because if the Most High is going to visit Israel for their wickedness, don't you think that He's going to visit the so-called white man and the rest of these nations for their wickedness, for the pride, for the arrogancy, for the blasphemy, for the rebelliousness? The Most High even said, "Let favor be shown to the wicked, yet he will not learn righteousness." Look, Jeremiah 5:29. Shall I not visit thee for the visit for these things, saith the Lord? Shall not my soul be avenged on such a nation as this? So, I mean, that's talking about Israel, but at the same time, in retrospect, using the word as a double-edged sword, the same would apply for the nations. It's in Isaiah. Hold on. 26. She ain't gonna be shown to the nations. Look at this. Let favor, Isaiah 26:10. Let favor be shown to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly and will not behold the majesty of the Lord. So when the wicked does these things, the nations, the Lord said, they get a shot. The Lord is fair. He said, I'll show you favor. I'll give you opportunity to repent. I'll give you opportunity to follow after righteousness, but you won't learn of it. You won't learn of it because number one, you got to learn from the Israelites. You ain't ready for that. You don't want to be sat down, instructed, and disciplined by blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans. You don't want that. You don't want to change your lascivious ways. You don't want to change your diet. You don't want to give up your lust for money and greed and idol worship and sodomy and everything else. You don't want that. So the Lord said, look, in the land of uprightness, when you have opportunity to do right, you still deal unjustly. So look, it's fair enough that we start seeing things like this, each getting worse than the last. So the Most High is constantly reprimanding and slamming the so-called white man upside the head. Okay, let's look at this in Psalm 17. That's how the Most High works. Uh, Hold on. Nah, my bad, y'all. I thought that was the one I wanted in 17, but I'll come back to it. No problem. That's okay. That's all right. But either way, we're seeing that the so-called white man over there in France said they keep getting hit more and more, more and more. And they can't understand and say, well, can they get a break? No, you can't get a break. No, you can't get a break because your kingdom got to come down. This place got to be finished. So they're going to and continually receive judgment of the Lord. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, no, that was. I thought that was the one. That's okay. But nonetheless, we see they're dealing with afflictions over there in France. One more time, I'm gonna read this quote: "What we are currently living through is a kind of major tipping point or a great upheaval." Oh, what does upheaval mean? Maybe we can find out. Look at this. A great change. A great change, especially causing or involving much difficulty, activity, or trouble. A great change. The process of being upheaved upward, an instant of being so heaved, a sudden violent disruption or upset. Strong or violent change or disturbance. So they're going to see a lot of these things. You know, the biggest change, sudden change that they're going to get is this right here. Second Ezra 6 and 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So there is going to be a great upheaval. He's starting to feel it now. He's only admitting what he's recognizing in the spirit. There's going to be some changes made. There's going to be a new sheriff in town. His name is going to be Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. You're going to have 144,000 deputies, running this place. See, he says, we are living the end of what could have seemed an era of abundance, the end of the abundance of products and of technologies that seemed always available, the end of the abundance of land and materials, including water. Did you hear that? He said the end of the abundance of land and materials, including water. Okay. Speaking of water, Mississippi flooding. Let's read this first article. Flooding in Mississippi. Huh? There's a major flooding going on in Mississippi that has jacked up the main water supplies in in the main city in Mississippi, in in Jackson, Mississippi. Okay, look at this quote: "Do not drink the water. Jackson Water Facility fails after flooding in Mississippi. Mississippi Capital says complications with water linked to recent flooding, leading to emergency distribution of bottled water. Mississippi's capital, Jackson, will go without reliable drinking water indefinitely." Hold on. Indefinitely. That means there's no end in sight right now. It could be a week, 2 weeks, 2 days, could be 2 months before they purify and clean out that water and get rid of all the damages that was done through the flooding. This is why I've maintained and stand on my stance in telling brothers and sisters, make proper preparations. Make proper preparations, okay? You never know when you're going to need some sort of emergency supplies. You never know. Prime example. I guarantee you, these people, everybody in Jackson was not thinking, oh, it's just flooding. Nobody's thinking that the flood would actually affect the water plant and the water treatment plant to where now the whole damn city has no water. You think the bottled water is going to be enough to take showers and baths, cooking, drinking? Huh? Lord forbid you got pets. You got to split that with them too. You ready for that? Guarantee you in Jackson they wasn't. Mississippi's capital, Jackson, will go without reliable drinking water indefinitely, officials said, after pumps at the main water treatment plant failed on Monday, leading to the emergency distribution of bottled water and tanker trucks for 180,000 people. The city linked the failure to complications from the flooding of the Pearl River, but Mississippi's Governor Tate Reeves, who declared a state of emergency, said the cause was unknown and that the city run water treatment plant had been poorly operated and understaffed for years. See, they want to blame the flooding, but they're in a place where they were not taking care of the water anyway. In any case, Jackson, with 150,000 residents and 30,000 in surrounding communities, could go without running water indefinitely. Hello? And officials warned anyone with access to tap water should boil it for 3 minutes. This is like they living out in the damn wilderness somewhere. But look who's getting most affected. Jackson is more than 80% black or African American, according to U.S. Census data. Look who got most affected. Don't drink the water, Reeves told a hastily called news conference. In too many cases, it is raw water from the reservoir being pushed through the pipes. She got 80% Jake in Jackson, Mississippi now without water and dependent upon the so-called white man to get their water. What happens when those supplies run dry? This is why I'm gonna throw y'all a jewel. I'm gonna throw y'all a jewel. Okay. No, we ain't even talking about nothing that expensive. Shit, that's BS. Uh, let me see if I can get on here. This is just a little jewel to help y'all out. I wasn't even intending on doing this, but let me help y'all out. Okay, so instead of y'all spending, you know, taking the family out for the $115 dinner bill, or going out on that date with wifey, that one weekend that you're gonna spend $200 just because. Slow down, maybe invest in something that could actually save your life. This is just a couple of different examples. These are 5-gallon stackable waters. Some of y'all, got 5-gallon tanks that you paying Arrowhead and everybody else for. That's cool. But guess what? If you was in Jackson, Mississippi, Arrowhead's probably jacked up too. So let's say this is $115 for four of them. Okay, that's a pretty decent deal. This one they give you 40 gallons, because they've got 8 different containers. Obviously, these are probably 20 gallons a piece, or uh, 5 gallons a piece. Excuse me. They got the water spouts and they got the treatments, the water treatments. If you stack these waters up, they'll last you at least a year. And if you use the water treatments, it might last longer. Okay. You've got foldable ones. This is one right here that you can. These are plastic. They stack up, but I believe that those kind of fold up. Before I think that's the one. They got another one that kind of folds up. I can't recall which one, but you see here, and many of y'all live in neighborhoods where you got the purified water spots that you can go get a gallon for 35 cents. You can fill up 5 gallons for like $1.50. 5 gallons for like $1.50. Store them in a cool, dry, shaded area, if need be. Put a little blanket over them. Store them away. Buy yourself a little packet of water treatment, just in the event that it sat there, you haven't swapped it out in 6 months to almost a year. Put a little water treatment in there. It'll still be good. Even after that, you can still utilize that water, boil that water, and drink it. If you're fearful of saying maybe that ain't gonna work, if you got deep pockets, you can get one of these. It's 320 gallons. But start off slow. you can get small little, gallons, and you can build up. You understand? If you got a little corner in your room, you got a corner in the house, in your garage or whatever, you could be stacking instead of stacking up a gang of water bottles and packing those up. That's cool too. I would suggest doing both. I would suggest doing both. But don't get caught out there like the brothers and sisters out there in Jacksonville or Jackson, Mississippi, I should say. But that's just one little jewel, man. Think about investing in something like that, Israel, because not only this drinking water, you can utilize this for washing, for cleaning, so forth and so on. Okay, so consider that as well. You can stack your water bottles. That's cool too, but you're gonna have to invest in a bigger, more industrial sized type of storage when it comes down to your water. All right, so that's a little jewel. I'm sending y'all that way because, as you see, as we just got through seeing, 180,000 people in Jackson, Mississippi was not expecting that they have no water indefinitely. Indefinitely. And with everybody got their hand out, begging and waiting for the so called white man to come give them more, who knows when he shows up? Who knows when and if he can continue supplying? He's going to always be able to, outsource and get from different states and get from different cities and counties. But eventually, that could run dry if they're saying we don't know when. So, how many other outside counties are prepared to give and have water prepared for a whole entire city of people? They may say, we ain't got enough of that. How many stores are willing and have the ability to donate water like that? We don't know, but it's best that you have something instead of nothing at the end of the day. All right, let's move on. Look what happened on Sunday. That's why I said, man, relying on the beast system, man, at any time and point, this place could crash and burn, or they will purposefully crash out just to cause hysteria and panic, just so that more people become more dependent upon the system so they can run these social experiments and see how people react and what happens. Nationwide snap and EBT outage left millions unable to make payments at retail stores. Some systems got restored. But can you imagine? Your ability to buy and sell gets cut off after the B system says, oh, you haven't complied. Oh, you're not, your social credit score didn't match up. Your behaviors haven't been kosher. Your carbon footprint has gone too deep. We got to cut you off. Up, you just try to buy some beef? Cut it off. Bugs only for you. This type of stuff that the future could hold. But we always say, when it comes down to a food crisis and food management, Henry Kissinger said it the best. He said that they were going to use food as a weapon in State Memorandum 200. He said food and vaccines. This thing right here regarding population growth. This thing is what we're talking about. Just in case you want to know, it's a leaked document. Henry Kissinger served under President Carter. This guy is a big time um, uh, global elite figurehead, mouthpiece, controller. Um, this population of food supplies. He's in this particular portion talks about utilizing food as a weapon. And look, this is right here. This is part Food for Peace program. So look that up. State Memorandum 200. You'll get some information on that. Okay. Blueprint for world what? Depopulation. Depopulation. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. So we see what happened. EBT snap. Millions of people couldn't get their food on Sunday. A nationwide outage was reported on Sunday with the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, leaving more than 1 million people without the ability to use their electronic benefits transfer cards to make payments at retail stores. Agencies in Massachusetts and South Carolina reported on Sunday that customers are unable to make purchases with their EBT cards. The South Carolina Department of Social Services tweeted Sunday that it is aware of processing issues of EBT cards due to, quote, third-party processor outage impacting programs in multiple states. Oh, it's a third party. It wasn't the government. No. It wasn't their fault. These are the tweets that went out. You understand? So the further collapse, man, of this system, man, the further social engineering and testing that's happening out there, checking to see what's going on with people. Once these cards, as you can see, at one snap of a finger, no pun intended, resources to access food, water, etc., can be cut off with one push of a button, or let it be some sort of uh, impact that happens to the grid, something that happens on the technological side of things where the system crashes and EBT's down indefinitely, i.e., Mississippi. Okay, let's move on. Employee says entire class of trainees was laid off after days of sessions. So y'all remember last week I put out the video 7 days ago. Jerome Powell and the uh, uh, Federal Reserve kept talking about economic softening, i.e., layoffs, loss of jobs, so forth and so on, has to happen, and it's going to happen as they try to restructure this economy. Um, they said that 50% of firms were going to be laying off workers within 6 months to a year from now. Well, looks like they ain't even wait. They ain't even wait. An employee went viral after sharing the moment she and a classroom of other trainees were told they were being laid off via a Zoom meeting. T-Lar B, known as Opera Chick, posted about the incident on TikTok where it received more than 1.2 million views and 1,800 comments. The video can be found here. We'll show that video in a second. Layoffs typically occur when a company is restructuring, or because the company is no longer able to employ a department. We talked about that last week. With the pandemic resulting in many companies restructuring and laying off many employees. Oh, it's because of the pandemic, huh? I thought that was under control. No? Let me see. I don't have a TikTok account, but maybe it'll play. Oh, here it goes.
Not getting laid off for days into
In
training.
training just got fired. The whole class just got fired.
Elsewhere, the CEO, whatever the hell you want.
During training, said our job is no longer a part of their
The
company.
position is no longer.
Not
Did you hear that? The position is no longer a part of their company. You see the sister, she turned up. She going live too. Both of them going live. Let me play one more time.
getting laid off for days into
In
training.
training just got fired. The whole class just got fired.
Elsewhere, the CEO, whatever the hell you want.
During training, said our job is no longer a part of their
The position
company.
is no longer.
Wow. So you see who's most outraged. You see Jake on the screen. Two sisters. Mo Jake's getting laid off. Israel always last hired, first fired. All right. Look at this. You know, I ain't going to expound on this too much, but you can read it for yourself. You can read it for yourself and draw your own conclusion. When you see this, the latest DVOC roosters are set to roll out before human testing is completed. You trust in that? You egghead zombies, are you still gonna keep going out there with your cognitive? I mean, what do you call it? Stockholm syndrome. You still gonna go out there and get poked up again? You need to follow protocol. Go get your treatments. Don't worry, it's safe and effective. How do you know when they tell you this ahead of time? Hmm? Go ahead out there, sheeple. Go ahead. Go get it. See what happens to you. I'd be interested in knowing. Anyway, last thing, I missed this one. I meant to follow up on the state of Europe. But look at this. Just another headline. I'm just going to read that. And y'all can see it as well. Europe faces look at this, terrible winters for the next 5 to 10 years without a gas price cap, the minister is warning. Belgian Energy Minister Tin van der Straeten warned that the next 5 to 10 years in Europe will be, quote, terrible unless the EU swiftly moves to impose a price cap on runaway gas prices. EU governments are scrambling to fill underground storage facilities with gas supplies in order to have enough fuel to keep homes warm during the coming months. Russia was supplied roughly 40% of the EU's gas last year, has drastically reduced flows to Europe in recent weeks. So, you see, Europe is about to get froze out. What they say in Game of Thrones, winter's coming. Winter is coming. And the Edomites, and unfortunately, the Jakes that's over there that live over there, they're going to get hit. They're going to get hit hard in Europe. But don't worry. America and the rest of the regions that the so-called white man rules, uh, they're all going to get hit everywhere. Stay tuned. So with that, that's going to close out this episode 141. DSTM, don't shoot the messenger. Don't do that. Don't do it. All right. What you can do though is be sure that you've wiped your feet when you came in or when you leave, man. Hit the like button. We need these algorithms to kick, man. The information is potent and necessary for our people to learn and listen and hear from. All right. Share it on your social media platforms. Share it to your email list. Get the word out. Do your part. Be a voice. Be a watchman or watchwoman. All the state of affairs that's happening in this earth, man, there's no reason why you shouldn't want to help, enlighten, and share information with those who you may be concerned with. Is too busy on their TikTok, too busy on their YouTube, entertainment streams, too busy locked into IG. They just lost in the sauce, man. They don't know what's going on. They constantly trusting in oppression, and they really don't understand what's happening. Maybe this will wake them up. Maybe this will get their wheels spinning. Shake the dice and see what you can do. So with that, I'm out. Always remember, fear the Most High, keep the commandments, and don't ever shoot your messenger. Shalom.